Yes, and a warm welcome to you all. It's great to have you here. Today we have a really nice classic wax durability test. I have brought the Swippy Premium Wax here again, and we will apply it together on the hood shortly. I will keep it really short and compact because you have already seen the entire application process in the first video, also here on the E. But in the first video, we saw that it had to give a little against the Tuga insect remover with a pH value of around 9 to 9.5. And because we have done this with many other waxes as well, I thought, why not take the time and do a little durability test with the wax too? And you were able to vote in advance here on Facebook in our Facebook group and decide for yourselves which products should be tested against the Swippy a bit and what you want to see. I also checked to see if I have those items. We will get started right after the application and proceed with the durability test after a curing time of over 24 hours. I hope you enjoy it, and I will keep this really short and concise. The hood has been completely degreased again, all dust removed, everything degreased, and there are no residues left. Now we will apply the wax once more. For this, I will take the applicator again. I will keep it really short and compact now, taking a bit of wax out here. The large hood goes very far in the middle. So, let's start over here. And now we will spread it evenly across the surface. I'll apply some here on the side area as well. Come on, let's put it on. I will apply it evenly here and then let it air out for at least 15 minutes afterwards. And the hood should also be large enough to test various cleaners. While I'm doing this, you can vote on Facebook. And for me, that means tomorrow or the day after. I can bring your candidates here and then we'll go onto the surface and just see how durable I find the wax. We have also done this with Neo Wax number 2, or we have done it with Super Splash, as well as various other waxes here. For example, 12 Menas. Looks good. Everything is nicely spread out. I'll take another look. Here it is a bit against the light. And it looks good. Yes, and now we let it ventilate for 15 minutes and then we polish it out. So we can already polish it out. 20 minutes later, 2001 and test again. Yes, it works. Just like on the E. Very easy. Sometimes there's a small spot where there's a bit more product residue, but you just go over it a second time and then it's completely removed. So that works. So, in terms of application, it really reminds me of having a soft Super Splash in front of me. I wouldn't be able to notice any difference here now if no one told me what kind of wax this is, assuming I didn't already know beforehand. So, right up to the middle. So, for the M, you need a bit more arm length. That should have worked well. Whether you polish it in long strokes or in circular motions, like I'm doing here on the side, is completely irrelevant. 2001, we can use this technique up here. I usually do it this way. I use long strokes with one side of the cloth to remove the coarse residues. That's my tactic for my application technique. Then, I can grab a fresh side of the cloth. Fold it a little smaller, also to hand size. Then you look completely against the light to make sure there are no residues on it. Well, that fits here. And now we will let it cure for at least 24 hours. And then we can start our durability test. And you can now vote here in the S on Facebook. Let's take a look at what you have chosen. So I'm back and it has been able to cure for 24 hours now. Here I have included your favorite cleaners. I'm now going to show you your voting results. There were really a lot of cleaners included. And of course, I had to condense that a bit. I tried to include as many different cleaners as possible. Once requested by you as a shampoo, here is the Labocosmetica Purìfica Acidic Shampoo. Then we have FX Protect Gravity, which I will mix at a ratio of 1 to 20. I have 500 ml of water here. We will add another 25 ml of Gravity. That means 1 to 20, 1 part to 20 parts. And I would like to include only one of these two cleaners. We'll just take the Först Usand, because they are quite similar in their effectiveness. And that's why we're also including the FX Protect Bug Remover, so we have a regular ready-to-use insect remover as well. This is indeed a very, very strong citrus pre-cleaner, and it says right here, citrus pre-cleaner, and here we have shiny citrus pre-cleaner. So, I hope it's okay with you if I just set this aside for now. Here in the bucket, I will prepare a mixture that corresponds to a cleaner for protected surfaces. Dilute 4 capfuls in 10 liters of water. 2001. I only need a little here, which means we have 5 liters. So we will halve it, and I will add 2 caps of Purìfica here. So, once here.
Once. And twice. Then we already have 500 ml of water in here. Pour this in here. Then we have completed the 1 to 20 here as well. And for the other 2, everything is ready to use. This means we can use it directly from the bottle. Now let's take a look at the behavior of the surfaces. Here at the small tip, you can see that the surface behavior is just as we know it. Really. Very, very good. Also, very good here. And you can take another look up here in the corner. Not that it doesn't work up here, but that's how it is. So, really, the defensive behavior completely reminds me of number 2, Super Splash, Fusser Code, and all the others. Here, even self-image hammers and all the candidates. So, really, the listening behavior is at a very, very nice level. We can take another look here just in case someone says that it might not bead on the surface. So here you can see that it is beading, surface number. 3 is beading, surface number. 4 is beading, and surface number. 1 is beading. So that looks good. And now let's get started. So, I have laid everything out for you here in fast motion. I had to shorten it, otherwise it would have turned into a 40-minute video, and that's way too long. No one is watching here at the end for so long, and it's just too boring. That's why here for you in fast motion on lane 1, I will wash at the end with Labocosmetica Purìfica, here on lane 2 FX Protect Gravity, lane 3 here Debug Remover, and lane number 4 all the way to the right here Santa Claus First. Everything has been nicely sprayed, and now it has been washed over again. During this time, it could work in peace for a full 3 minutes. Now let's take a look at the first result. Also, when rinsing, I always tried to rinse everything evenly from top to bottom. I immediately noticed a spot in the upper right that had previously beaded perfectly. A dead square has formed. I have to be honest with you, I don't know what caused that. However, I did not include it in my evaluation, but it was somehow completely strange in the top right. I did not take it into account, so the other areas really still looked good after the first round. In some places, even with the prints on the far right, it was a bit weaker, but otherwise, there is already a slight change here with Labocosmetica Purìfica, and also here with FX Protect Gravity, where you can already see a few puddles of water. Let's take a closer look at that now. I went over it again with the sprayer, using the solo battery sprayer. I looked at various spots again. So here with the Labocosmetica Purìfica, we already had a few small areas where it was slowly wearing down or attacking the wax. And here we have a few areas with the FX Protect Gravity as well. So it's large, maybe it's still good overall, but you can definitely see a few areas that have been noticeably affected. Again, you can't see everything 100% gone here, but especially on the left side, we already have significant areas of detachment where it has really broken down. Then I went to get some fresh water again because the tank here is completely empty. It was actually still really nice with the back mover. So here you see the entire surface scanned. I have simply summarized this for you now, otherwise the video would take forever. So here it was just a bit weak in the front area. You can see very slight droplet formation, but further up it was still very, very fresh everywhere. And this definitely looks good here. This is the surface that is somehow completely strange. As I said, I will not include it in my evaluation, even though it beaded off before. But overall, it has clearly diminished here on the side. It is clearly visible at the ridge, where we also sprayed before, and where it beaded up well. Up here it's still somewhat okay, but above it was actually still quite good. So here are a few areas, then round 2 completely sprayed everything again, nice and evenly. It worked well with these transitions, so that the cleaners don't unnecessarily run into each other. And then that actually worked well here too. I need to summarize this for you, otherwise, as I said, it would take way too long. Also, I completely sprayed the gravity 1 to 20 again, really thoroughly. Also here at the top, wash it thoroughly again, and then rinse it directly with the Labocosmetica Purìfica shampoo water. Also, always remember there is no dirt on this. We are only rubbing here with the microfiber and the shampoo. We have no additional traffic film residues or anything that could cause abrasion. And then you can see the following result here with Labocosmetica Purìfica. The water layers are already a bit larger, but the wax is still solid. I believe this is also what will be at the end of the title. It was still very solid in that area, but we have definitely seen a bit of a deficit. Here during the pre-wash it became much clearer. Here the whole thing then breaks through the product. Here with the debug remover, I have to say this is a really nice combo. You can see here after round 2, it still worked really well. I think about 90% of the wax was still active. A few small areas were slightly weakened, but really just minimal. And here at the Santa Claus First on the top, it was actually still reasonable. Only on the sides, it has already diminished a bit. And now here for round 3, the same principle applies again. And I must say clearly, this is not a maximum load, and therefore, when using so many products repeatedly at this frequency, such a wax simply has to perform. It is logical that it is not completely untouched here, but we want to see just how strong the wax is. And I have to say, it is definitely, as I mentioned before, really solid. At this point, we will take another look after the wash with Labocosmetica, Purìfica, after round 3, and now we will rinse everything thoroughly again. I really liked how the top looked. However, the edge on the right side at the first was already a bit worn, even before. Here at Labocosmetica Purìfica, it was also clearly seen, and again in detail afterwards, that one or another small water situation arises. So here, it is really being attacked over time. During the pre-wash, where we are currently still on band 2, we can already see significant large puddle formation that cannot be rinsed away. So here it is affected, and with the debug remover, one must clearly say that you can see how the hydrophobicity diminishes a bit. But overall, I believe it has held up the best among the cleaners. It has held up the best there. The wax finish is logical. There are different strengths of cleaners, not only in terms of pH value, but also in terms of the surfactants. And now, let's go over the details again. With the Stjarnagloss First, the wax has actually held up very, very well so far. Over here, it is now getting weaker and weaker. You can already see it here with the beading behavior. Up here, we already have the first areas. And if we compare that now against the debug remover, which we have just gone over after round 3, you can already see that the droplets are slowly sticking to the paint. So the wax is definitely not coming off. But you can see it here. It no longer has the beading behavior as it did at the beginning, even though the pH value here is significantly weaker than with the first. And this also shows once again that the included ingredients, surfactants, and everything that is part of the formulation cannot be generalized regarding the pH value to determine whether the product holds up or not. Let's take a look at the gravity pre-wash here, and you can already see that it's breaking down some really large pieces. We also have 2 or 3 areas here. It's getting a bit tougher now. So, in this case, the FX Protect Gravity might not be the right cleaner. Even the debug remover looked good after 2 rounds, but eventually it just breaks through. It always depends on what kind of surfactants are contained. And also with Labocosmetica Purìfica, we see here that the stain is getting larger. And down here, it is continuing to tear apart, so to speak. I simply call it that. The wax layer is still reasonably present in many places. But we can already see that it is always important to remember that this is applied on a clean paint surface, without contamination, without additional stress. You always have to keep an eye on it. Load test completed. Write your feedback in the comments below. You have my conclusion. I think it definitely ranks among the good waxes. Whether you need another wax in your collection, you can decide for yourself. Definitely an absolutely solid wax. And just to remind you, we also saw here with the Insect Devil from Tukashimi, it reacted a bit harshly. So here it must be clearly stated again that pH value is not always the only and decisive factor in whether a product, whether it is a spray sealant, spray wax, hard wax, liquid wax, or whatever, is effective. The pH value is not the decisive point, nor is it the only factor whether this sealing product is affected by the cleaner, whether it is a pre-cleaner, insect remover, or otherwise. You just have to test it out, and there are various combinations to find. I will continue to stick with my soft super splash because I get the same properties with an easier application, really an extremely strong beading behavior. And if you are satisfied with the Neo Wax number 2, you can stick with it. It works absolutely great. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Until next time, you're Sebastian. Bye guys.